Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on exchange programs for young humanists, hosted by ASUR, which is the Romanian Secular Humanist Association, and done in the framework of the European Humanist Services Network. Today, we are going to explore the world of Erasmus Plus youth projects and international collaboration, with a special focus on how these opportunities can benefit young humanists like ourselves. So thank you for joining, and let's get this started. We have prepared a small agenda for today, and we're going to start with a short introduction so we get to know each other a little bit. Then I'm going to do an overview of the Erasmus Plus Youth Project, and I'm going to just tell you a little bit about this kind of opportunities, but I also included in the presentation some links that you might find useful afterwards. Then I will share with you some examples of our successful international collaboration with humanist NGOs for different type of projects, Erasmus and otherwise. I prepare a short poll and we'll have a group discussion based on your answers. I also prepare a short list of do's and don'ts of managing international projects, something that we learned the hard way from what we did so far. We have a scenario-based exercise, something about challenges and solution in international collaboration, short Q&A, and of course we're going to finish with a conclusion and the next step. But if sometimes during the webinar you feel like you need to ask a question, please use the option to raise your hand, and I'll do my best to follow on that. I'm going to press pause on my presentation and answer as best as I can. Thank you. Now, let's move on. If there are any questions at this point, please raise your hands, and I will try my best to see when you have questions, and then press pause and answer as we go along. The meaning of this, actually, our aim was to explore how international partnership can enhance the experience of young humanists, and we hope this webinar will give you some knowledge and will help you to grow your involvement in the international project, and inspire you to reach out to other organizations and then try to do something together, because actually this was one of my goals was to maybe find partners for other projects that we have in mind for the future. So afterwards, if you want to maybe have an idea and you want to share it and you want to explore it together, sure, why not? I hope I can reach this. So yeah, hello, I'm Monica from ASUR. My name is not Slim Shady. It's Monica Belitoiu, but most people know me as Monica from ASUR because my family name is a bit hard to pronounce by those who are not born in Eastern Europe. And I would like to know more at this point about your name. So who wants to start? Your name, your organization, and if you have been doing some international collaboration so far or not, just a few words in 1 minute.
I can start.
Sure.
Really quickly. My name is Troels. I'm from Denmark. I live in Copenhagen, and I work for the Danish Humanist Society. We've done some Nordic cooperation in the Danish Humanist Society. We organized the World Humanist Congress last year. But my main experience with these kinds of projects between organizations that are more project oriented is based on my experience in youth organizations when I was younger, like culture youth organizations.
So for you, the youth project really worked and inspired you to go further with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Someone else wants to share? It's not mandatory, but I think it's nice to get to know each other a little bit before I start talking for the rest of the time.
Yeah, I can go next if you want me to.
Sure.
I'm Ilan. I'm from HUO, Humanistic Youth in Belgium. And what we do is we organize projects and activities for young people between 6 years old and 30 years old. And it's all starting out of 3 big pillars, we call them. It's the sciences and art pillar, our debate and philosophy pillar, and our last one is the coming of age pillar. So that's where we're doing activities in, and our international past has been with some successes and some downs. We did some international camps already, but then those stopped before COVID. And now we are looking to maybe do some more international projects again, like one of our art projects that I'm leading to create exhibitions or like weeks where you spend 1 week together and create together and maybe bring something back to your own country. So that's what I'm now thinking about.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. That sounds really good. Anyone else?
Hi everyone. I know Monica, but I don't know anyone else besides Marty, who is also from Czech Humanists here. We are. I am Yuri from Czech Humanists, and we are not yet part of the bigger associations that have their own services and their own working ceremonies and stuff, but we are slowly getting there, and we really like to learn and see where the opportunities are and how we should start these projects. So I'm very glad that you, Monica, do this international exchange program for youth, because I think that's our one of our hopes, that we will be able to show young people here that it's actually a lot of fun to be a young humanist, not only for the change that you can do for your country, but also for the fun of meeting new people from other countries and other situations. That's from me. And if perhaps I will give my baton of speaking to Marty, because I know him. He's from Czech Humanists too. Can you introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. Hey, my name is Marty, and I'm pretty new to humanism. I've been involved for about a month now, so I'm here just to learn. I don't know much yet. That's about it, I guess.
Hi. I hope you enjoy today as doing something new for you. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we have a few more people that.
I'm happy to say hello. Hi everybody.
Hi Luke.
Hi Monica. I'm Luke from Humanist UK. I head up our education work here, which is where we do the majority of our work with young people, but we don't have a particularly active youth program of any kind outside of our work in schools. So I'm particularly interested to hear what Monica has to say and find out a little bit more about things that we might be able to engage more young humanists with in the UK in the future. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Christian. I'm from the Central London Humanists. I'm the facilitator of our activism group. And yeah, regarding youth, we've been trying to sort of reach out to some universities to see if we can get the network up and going. That took a really hard hit during the pandemic. But that's definitely one of the projects that we're trying to build a lot of networks across London, across the UK, and trying to get more back to the university network that we had in the past. So yeah, that's one of our big challenges.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar. So thank you for sharing. I think we also have Thomas.
Oh yes, I have waited for the other ones. Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm the head of youth work in the region of Berlin and Brandenburg in Germany. Yes, I'm interested what can we learn from you, and so we are still looking for partners for our international work, and yes, I'm very interested.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if we have anyone else who wants to speak at this point, but if not, no, okay. So we can, yeah, sure.
I have to introduce myself. Can you hear
sorry,
me?
Peggy, yes.
No. My sound wasn't working, so not sorry. I'm Peggy. I'm also from Germany, from the Young Humanists in Berlin, and you said to us what you're doing. We do holiday camps and ceremonies and some kind of out-of-school education, and for the next time we want to have a exchange with Monica, and yes, I'm very surprised to see everybody, and thanks a lot. I hope we can enjoy.
Thank you, Peggy. Your mic works really good now, so that shouldn't be an issue. Yeah. Okay, so let's dig into it. I wanted to start telling you a little bit about Erasmus because our organization started in 2010. But for a long time, we didn't apply to Erasmus projects or any other kind of European founded project because we were afraid of the bureaucracy, and no one was eager to write the project and to do all the stuff that needs to be done in order to manage it and to report and so on. But one of my colleagues, Patricia, she said, "Oh, I want to do this. Let's start doing." And the first project she wrote was a youth exchange, and to our big surprise, she got it on the first try. She was really impressed because it usually takes two or three tries to get a project founded in Romania at least. So yeah, that was really good. But then the pandemic hit us, and we had to postpone everything, and to all the budget was too small for what we planned. But this was one of the struggles. Despite all this, we really like this, and we are so impressed with how how smooth everything went. That I think it's really nice to know a little bit about what Erasmus Plus and why should we care about it. Because for us, it was a really nice way to find resources, to find some international partners, to develop some project that just started as an idea that we passed around while we were having some drinks or while we're just, I don't know, having a video call with other of our colleagues while we were in quarantine during COVID. And it's a nice way to engage young people in humanist movement. Of course, even if it provides an opportunity to engage with other organizations, not all the time is the case that you get the chance to work with other humanist organizations. But you can have the certainty that most of the people that apply to Erasmus projects are aligned with our values, and it's easier to find partners if you see a little bit about what they've done and what they are focused on. So the goals of Erasmus are to, of course, promote cross-cultural understanding and to enhance some skills and employability, foster youth engagement, and strengthen collaboration. And when I first read this, I believed that, oh, there are only words or something like this. This sounds nice, but in reality, it doesn't happen. But if you find the right partners, it usually happens because the impact of the project, the impact that you write in the project, is not necessarily the one that you manage to achieve. And sometimes you get the chance to have impact in places you wouldn't believe, and to have people that benefit from what you are doing, that are even outside of Europe, and they start hearing about humanism and the humanist issues. They start hearing about your work, and they start trying to do their work in the same field. So the main types of projects with Erasmus are youth exchanges, volunteering projects, and training and networking. So far at ASUR, we have done youth exchanges, both coordinated by us or coordinated by others, and we were partners in those, and we have done a lot of trainings for youth workers. I do not know if you have the term in your countries, probably yes. In Romania, it doesn't have a good sound to it, but we usually use the English version, so we say youth workers because it's easier to understand. But it mostly has to do with people that are working as youth workers as a qualification after university, but also with people who work in youth NGOs and other educational NGOs that develop projects for young people. After this presentation, I will share with you the PDF file, and I included some resources that I think will be very useful, because all the websites offer a lot of information there, and I think they are easily structured. I like structure in my life, and I like the fact that when I go on a website to search for something, it's easier to find the precise information. So this is the last one with the Erasmus success story is something that they do after each call. They go to all the reports from all the countries and they see if some of the projects have specifically impactful results, and they share with everyone else. So you know, if you want to replicate this in your country, or maybe grow an idea based on others' success stories, maybe you can use those as a starting point in your activities. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you to say a little bit about our project here in Romania, because being from Eastern Europe, sometimes we feel overlooked when it comes to education, and the PISA results in our country are really bad, and when it comes to Eurobarometer on debate in high schools, we do not score that well, and so on. So we really want to have some impact in what we do. But in the beginning, we didn't have a lot of funds and a lot of knowledge on how to get grants. And our chance started, of course, with the Norwegians, like many things start when it comes to humanism. Because in 2015, they contacted us because they were planning to offer some grants to a few smaller organizations. And we submitted the project, and we entered a competition basically with other NGOs. And they decided to give us a grant in 2015, and they did so every year, including last year. So the chance we get from the Norwegian Humanist Association for us was like a game changer. What we managed to do afterwards, I couldn't even imagine what would have happened to our international collaboration if we didn't get this kickstart, so to say. So yeah, big thanks to the Norwegian, to the Humanist Norwegian organization. One of the first things we did together was a humanist summer camp in Romania in 2016, and this is a picture from one of the days in that camp. We had participants from Romania and a few young people from Norway, young ladies actually, because they were only girls that came to Romania as trainers, but also as participants, because they participated in all the activities. They share a lot of the information with the Romanians, and they were mostly students in the summer camp. Not all of them knew what humanism was when the camp started, but all of them had the values. So they didn't know, because the term is not that famous in Romania. So we have been doing some reels now and some Instagram content to help people understand what it means to be a humanist and what we are hoping and so on. So yeah, this was the first experience, and we did some other projects together, not necessarily youth exchanges, but in 2022, some Romanians went to the Norwegian Humanist Association summer camps, and their experience there was so great that when they came back, they decided to start their own project. So this is something that not many young people do, to have the initiative to start a project, to coordinate a project, and to have their own ideas developed. And I'm really glad that my colleague Alexia is here in the meeting, because she's the youngest member of our organization, and she this year she applied for a grant for Humanist International for young people, for young humanists, and she got it with an idea about developing critical thinking workshops for youth in Romania, and it's going really well. So I think that the inspiration that young people can get from others like them from other countries is really helpful and really beneficial for everyone involved. So yeah, after the summer camps and during the interaction that we have with everybody, there was another important moment for us, was when we participated in Nuremberg in the meetings, the humanist meetings there in 2018, and I was invited to give a presentation about the scientific calendar that we do in Romania. And it was in a best practice session, and I kept talking about how we do this calendar that we give for free in schools, and it has 356 informations about science discovery and scientists and so on. It's something that we've been doing since 2010, so since the organization started, and we keep doing it every year with new content, new design and everything, and every year we research what happened this year and so on. So for the next year, the theme was going to be the natural world, because some people voted, and it was a big competition about the theme. But yeah, I have talked about this at during the presentation in Nuremberg, and afterwards, Humanist Society Scotland, Europa Laica, which is an NGO from Spain, and the Polish Rationalist Association all replicated the calendar in their countries. With of course, they adapted the content because we have some Romanian scientists in our calendar. We have some Polish or Scottish or Spanish scientists in their calendar and so on. So yeah, and they decided to give it either to schools, to orphanages, to all kinds of places where people would be interested. And actually, I was really happy when I got an email saying that Europa Laica received an award from the Spain Ministry of Education for their work with the scientific calendar. So this is an example of how a project for youth can be replicated in other countries, even if it's not a youth exchange, but it's something that can be used in different contexts. Getting back to our work, I wanted to say a little bit about what we did with Erasmus. So the first Erasmus project that we did was supposed to be in 2020, but it happened in 2022. And it was our first collaboration with Humanist Malta, and we had other two partners, not humanist organizations. This is a picture with the group that we had then. This was a youth exchange focused on the intercorrelation between science and human rights, because you cannot submit a project on Erasmus focusing on humanism or saying it's focused on humanist values or something like this. It has to be something more inclusive or something that many people can relate to. So my colleague Patricia came up with this idea because going through the Humanist Declaration, you can find a lot of references to human rights and to promoting scientific education. So this is all our projects are related to these two topics. So when we did scientific, it has to do with active citizenship and how knowing and using science and human rights can make you a better and more active and involved citizen in your countries, in everything. And I chose this picture for the presentation because in the back you can see the Romanian parliament, and next to it you can see the biggest church in Romania, which is still under construction after many, many years and still receives tons of state funding despite a lot of protest and commentary and so on. So yeah, this is something I do not like, but I wanted to show you that if you do not know, you can Google the Romanian parliament. It's a huge building. It's the second largest administrative building in the world. And the church that is being built next to it is quite large, the same. It's an Orthodox church. And yes, that is gold on top of it. Yeah, so going at, this is another project that we did. Actually, this project will be finished at the end of this month. Another collaboration with Humanist Malta. This one was called Fab Future. It was not a youth exchange. It was a training course for youth workers about how to combine science and human rights in their projects. And we had 15 youth workers from 3 countries that have, after participating in our training in Romania, we did a training in Transylvania, and that is Bran Castle, famously known as Dracula Castle in the back. Yeah. So we did the training in Romania, and afterwards, each of the youth workers came back to their countries and did some learning sessions with their communities and applied what they learned from us. And based on their experiences and what we did in our research part, we wrote best practice guide for youth workers that I will share with you afterwards. It's available in English, Romanian, Bulgarian, so you can choose your language. I will share the links with you. I'm kidding. I'm only giving you the Romanian lot of this. So yeah, so this is one of the results was the part with the best practice guide, because you can find 15 stories for 15 youth workers, and everyone have chosen something different, and I especially like that. From Malta, there were two very different experiences, because someone decided to explain how mathematics can relate with activism and how you can use statistics when you plan a protest or something like this. So this was really interesting about combining science and human rights. And another one was about social entrepreneurship. And I will let you discover more in the guide, because it was really fascinating to see everyone's ideas, and especially to see the reactions of the young people that got to be exposed to these ideas. And I think it helps us a lot, because a lot of people didn't know what's the connection between science and human rights, but we promoted a lot this project during at the same time that the movie Oppenheimer was in cinema, and we used this as a way to start the conversation and decide to talk about human rights and scientific discovery. So now we are planning what's next. So we are developing a project with humanists from Germany, from Lithuania, and from Malta again, because we have worked 2 times successfully together with the Maltese humanists, and we say, why not do it again? So this one, it's about helping youth workers to develop critical thinking and argumentation skills among young people. So it's going to involve a lot of sessions of debate, how to plan an advocacy campaign, how to do an advocacy campaign, and so on. And I think it's a project that allows for each organization to best decide the themes of debate based on what is happening currently in their country. So if in one of the countries, the current theme, like for example, I know that in Malta, one of the themes is assistant dying. So I think this is something they can do in their debate and so on. So Erasmus allows for a lot of flexibility, and I think the impact is so much bigger when each organization really knows their community and the problems that they have there, the issues. And based on this, they try to apply everything they do in the project to better improve the situation in their country. And we also hope to, this is the plan that has been going around for many, many years. We hope to organize a humanist camp, an European humanist camp with 30 young humanists. And it's something that we have talked about with friends from Norway, from Poland, and from Czech Republic. When the last time when we met in Oslo, we also discussed about this. But the problem here is that we are still looking for a grant to finance this camp. And one idea is that we can, if we find the right subject and the right team, we can do the camp as an Erasmus project, but this would mean to have only humanist organization involved, and to have such a great idea that it will work for Erasmus Plus grants. So if anyone has an idea and wants to collaborate and to develop on this, I think it will be really, really nice to have a humanist summer camp with participants from many countries. And now I think it's time to discuss a little bit, because I feel like I talked a lot. And I wanted to ask you if you think about your work. What has been your biggest challenge in regards to international collaboration, and which aspect of the Erasmus project would interest you the most so far? Yeah, I will stop sharing for a bit, and so I can see you, and we can discuss. What has been your biggest challenge in international collaboration so far, if you have done international collaboration? And I put here time zone differences, administrative hurdles, cultural differences, and communication barriers. But of course, they can be others. Yes, Trost?
This is more of a general issue with all sort of project-oriented, externally funded projects that it's super easy. It's not super easy to find external funding, but it's not impossible. But often I think the challenge lies in finding sort of bridging the gap between what is the purpose of the external funding and what is actually valuable to the organization. I've been in, and this is sort of very early in all the projects, and I'm sure we'll get to some of the more content. The more content side of sort of the more pragmatic or the stuff that's actually about the projects. But in developing and designing the projects, I found it a little bit challenging to find something that is both valuable to the organizations, to my organization, and something that the external funding the funding partner would like us to do. For instance, if an example is that there's a lot of funding for climate-oriented projects.
Yeah.
But climate is a very new sort of area. It's not the core. It's not a core activity to work with climate projects for the Danish Humanists, for instance. We're pretty focused on sort of the services and the ceremony part of humanism. So I sometimes find that I struggle with finding the sort of the good projects that are both valuable to all participating organizations, and it's possible to find external funding for.
Yeah, I understand completely, and I know I had a discussion recently with Urte from the Lithuanian Humanists, and she was saying the same thing, because she wants to develop more the existential care in her country, and she also wants to focus on the mental health of humanists, and none of the projects were doing this. But I hope with the project that we are working on, because the main focus on the project is developing advocacy skills and critical thinking skills and so on. But how you do this can be adjusted to what the needs of your organization are. Because I think this concern with how you align what you want to do with what the founders want you to do, the grant the people that give you the money want to do, it's really difficult to reconcile. So yeah, I really focus on this, but I think the thing that the advice that I can give here is to find a project that allows you to. I have the word in Romanian, but I do not have it in English. To adapt the project to your needs. So that allows you to adapt the project to your needs. So this is. I know it's really difficult. We have tried many times before, but sometimes it works. I know someone talked a little bit about theater earlier, and we recently participated in a project in Bulgaria that was about shadow theater and how to use it in your projects. And one of the people that participated from Romania wants to do something related to humanism, theater play that showcases some humanist issues. So this is some example of how you use a project to do something that interests your organization. Do we have someone else that wants to say what has been your biggest challenge in international collaboration so far? Or maybe what will interest you most in Erasmus project?
If I can say something,
Sure.
The first, because this is my first international project, is actually the first thing I find difficult is finding the partners, or how, because I start from a concept or an idea that I already have, but how hard you need to stick with your concept or idea because it really fits our organization. Because when you are in contact with another partner, there will have to be made some compromises. You have to find the middle ground and stuff. And like, how far can you are you able to really find that compromise, or are you looking for other partners that might fit your organization a bit better than? So that's something I find difficulties with, like first finding the right partner, and also then maybe it's a bit further on that, like when do you really begin finding your funding, or do you focus first on creating your concept, finding your partners also, and then apply for a funding? Or is it you have your concept, try your funding, and then you go with the concept to your partners? Like how does it fit together?
Yeah, finding the right partners, I think it's difficult for both national and international collaboration. And what we did, for example, with this project, we really have been waiting for many years to do a project only with humanist organizations. So we developed this idea of what we want to do, and first we advertise it on a humanist group that we know. We contacted the persons that we worked with on different projects, and we asked, hey, have you done this kind of projects before? We would be interested in doing something like this. And this was the first step. But if we, the plan was, if we do not found the organization that we want, since this is our project and we will be the coordinators and the ones that the coordinators usually does a big chunk of the work in a project. So since the plan was to advertise on Salto Youth, which is a channel for this kind of project, and to see if we find the partners. And then we wanted to say, we looking for partners that value this and this and this and want to do this and this and that. It's not certain that you will find the right partner. I will go to do's and don'ts later and tell you a little bit more about this, but it's a start. It's something that helps you select. You usually receive tens of applications from organizations from different countries. A lot of them are from Turkey, but we never collaborate with organizations that are state-funded by governments that have some issues with democracy, so to say. So in the description, usually you get to read a little bit about them, and if they say they are a State Department or something like this, this is something that does not work for us. So if they say that we value democracy, we value freedom of speech, we value freedom of belief or something like this, so these are our guys. We can have a video call to get to know each other and to see to which extent we can work together and how flexible we need to be in order to do the project, but also to accommodate their wish. Because as we want to do a project that works for us, every other partner wants to do a project that works for them. So we need to find a common ground. And when you find it with some of the organizations, those are your partners. But it's a really difficult process, and you have to plan ahead because it takes some time to find the right ones. I have another hand from Charles.
Yeah, I just wanted to have the example that I'm planning a project right now at the moment. We're organizing a Nordic trip or Nordic meeting for Nordic youths at the Norwegian Humanist Youth summer camp next year, where one of my considerations has been that we've decided to keep it both because we found sort of a match between having external funding that is willing to fund meetings between youths from the Nordic countries and a sort of a practical consideration that bringing youths together would maybe make it easier if they can. If they for some of the time can just speak the Nordic languages with one another. So that's sort of it could have been expanded to include more, to be more of a European summer camp trip or a European meeting, but because it's sort of a pragmatic look at what funding could we get, and there's some Nordic funds that are willing to fund activities where youths actually become fluent in the Nordic languages together. So that's sort of a balance where I just wanted to bring youth together, but ended up having to make a compromise because the external funding required it.
But I think you can try to do after the project concludes to have as a report on something and to maybe have host something online to see how your experience was, and maybe we can try to replicate in other corners of the world to see if we can work with humanist association from the neighborhood countries or something that, or someone that shares some of the language, the culture, or something like this, and maybe do the same in other parts, because it sounds really good, and I think it can serve as inspirations for others also. I do not see any other hand raised, so maybe I will start sharing again the screen, and because I have a few more slides. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the do's and don'ts of managing international projects, and I will go one do, one don't. And the first thing is to plan really good, because if you have anything planned in advance, you can know which of the parts are you willing to give up, or are you willing to adjust based on the in-field experience and the collaboration with your partners and so on. So if the plan is good from the start, you can adapt it as you go along. But if the plan is bad, the adaptation will only make it really harder to conclude the project in a timely manner and to some positive impact. Related to this is the don't overlook administrative details, and this has a lot to do with signing some kind of partnership agreement in the start, because if you discuss with all your partners, so you got the grant, you got everything, and then you need to do the project. So the first thing you have to do is have a discussion with all the partners and draft the task for everyone to see, are you going to do this by when, and so on, all the administrative, because sometimes people need to be told what to do, and sometimes people are proactive, but more often than not, especially when working with NGOs, people need to be told what they do because they lack the time to plan ahead and so on. So if, as a coordinator, is your task to keep track of the administrative details. So if you draft the task for everyone in advance and you agree with everyone about what you have to do by when and so on, I think the project has a better chance of success. The other part is to communicate clearly and regularly. Usually in our projects, we have at least one check-in every month with each partner to see how they are coming along, if they have done their share in their country, if they have encounters or problems. And we also have mailing lists with the partners and WhatsApp groups for small things with the partners. So if they have an idea, a suggestion or a problem, they can note to reach out and to contact everyone else to see if we can sort this out. It's very important because of the time differences and the language barriers, because not all of us speak the same language. Usually we do projects in English, but you can also do them in French or German or other language if it's a common language to all the partners. But so far we've done the project in English because it was easier for everyone in our organization. Do not neglect conflict resolution, because sometimes you say, oh, I do not want to tell the partner now that they didn't did this right, or they should have done this, and I will wait, and you let this fester, and sometimes you get to a point where maybe one of the activities hasn't gone along that good, or maybe you feel like one of the objectives is becoming impossible to reach. And in order to avoid having some arguments with the partners, it's better to plan ahead for what risk may occur in this part, and to face everything, to have a discussion every time you feel that someone needs to do something better, or if you have offended anyone, or if you have not taken into consideration their cultural upbringing or something like this, because probably something that seems offensive to me or something that doesn't sit well with me has to do with the local culture in other country, and this has to always be taken into consideration, and it's something that we include when we start every international training. Because during the trainings, after the sessions and so on at night, when people start after dinner, they start talking, then partying and so on, you might end up in a conversation when some conflicts may arise. And if you tell them from the start, please be mindful of different culture and different aspects of everyone, they start focusing on that fact, and it's easier to communicate and to avoid any kind of conflict. And this has to do with the next point, which do embrace cultural differences. And I can give you an example from in the first youth exchange, one of the partners were from Turkey, and they said two students, two girls from Ankara and Istanbul, that they were fasting for Ramadan, and every time we had to schedule the meals, we had to take into consideration the fact that we have to put some meals aside for them and to have refrigerating places and so on, and to make sure that no one stays hungry for days on end. So yeah, this is just an example, but a lot of them can arise during an international exchange. So the next part will be, don't assume that everyone has the same understanding. This has to do a lot with cultural differences, but also with language barriers. So it's better to use the easiest to understand terms that you can use, and it's better to explain more than once what you want and what you mean to say. So this has been, it's an advice that was given to me by another partner in the first project, some youth worker from Italy, and I take it with me to all the other projects that I have done. Do set clear, measurable goals for impact. With Erasmus, as with a lot of other people that offer grants, impact is really important. So the bigger the impact, the most chance you have to get the project funded. So you have to set the goals for you very clear, to be able to measure those goals, and to make sure that you can reach them. Because I can set the goal to myself to go to Mars by the next 5 years, but this is not something that can be achieved. Is not a realistic goal for me. So maybe make it realistic, but make it also clear and measurable. And keep in mind that this is something that we do before submitting a project. We give it first to someone that hasn't been involved in the project, someone in our team, to read it. And if they understand what we want to do and why we want to do it and what the impact will be, this is very good, because this is like someone who has no knowledge of the project reading it for the first time. It's the same experience for the people that offer the grant, the people that read the grant application. So have a pair of eyes to read your project to see if you have set everything clear. Don't focus solely on outputs instead of outcomes. In the beginning, for us, it wasn't that clear, so to say, the difference between output and outcomes. But for Erasmus, and even we find out that from other foundations that offer grants, because there are a lot of foundations that offer grants, most of them for stuff that has to do with education or democracy. It's very important to also focus on the outcomes of the project. In order to do that, you need to continuously evaluate and reflect on what you do and the final impact of the project. Because so we are working towards this, but what have we done so far? Does this work? Do we need to change everything? And the good part for me, one of the good parts with Erasmus, is that in the beginning you receive a lump sum, and you have some goals, and you have set some objectives for the project. But if during the project, during your internal evaluation and reflections and so on, you feel that you need to change something, you can inform your national agency about this. You can talk to them, and usually they allow you to change the budget allocation, to change some of the objectives, not very, the difference shouldn't be that high, but they allow you to make changes on the way if you explain how this will be better for the project. And most importantly, don't ignore participant feedback, because every time we write a project, we say, oh, the participants will be this kind of people and this kind of people and so on, and there's always a question, how will they be involved? So it's important to have feedback from participants, even if they are young people or youth workers or any other kind of participants in the project. It's important to ask them along the way, does this work for you? Do you feel that there's room for improvement everywhere? Do you feel that I need to change some things, or maybe you didn't understand something, or I need to make this clearer, or something like this? It's very, very important. For example, with the training that we did last October in Romania, we had participant feedback at the end of each day, and it was anonymous. And at the end of the whole training, we had the only feedback that was with their name. It was not anonymous, the last one. But because we wanted to compare the feedback that they gave when no one knew who they were with the feedback that they give in the end. And it was pretty much the same. Because the fact that we asked them every day and we took into account from one day to the next what they said, it was really, really good for them. So yeah, it's very important, because if the participants are your most important target, because those people that participate in an Erasmus project, there are not that many, but they can have a big impact when they go to and they talk to their families, to their friends, to their community, and so on. Now I want to do a short exercise, a scenario-based exercise. So let's say your organization is about to launch its first Erasmus Plus challenge, and it's going to partner with organizations from different backgrounds. So here is the challenge. These differences can lead to serious communication breakdowns and ethical clashes, and you might risk the success of the project. And if things go wrong, it's not just the project at stake, it's also your organization's values and your credibility as the project coordinator. So these are a few of my questions. How do you ensure that humanist values are respected when you partner with people who might necessarily share the values? This has to do with the question about how you find partners. What do you do when cultural differences cause conflict? And if the project starts to falter, how prepared are you to handle the fallout? What to do in the beginning to ensure that your humanist values are respected? What do you do when the conflict starts? And what do you do when the project starts to go the wrong way? Does anyone has any answers to this? It's an open discussion. I stopped the sharing so I can see you all. Yes, I have a raised hand. Rose?
Hopefully you can address it by, if you've set proper goals beforehand, then hopefully you can point back to the previously agreed goals. So it doesn't have to be a discussion. If it devolves into a discussion about principles or what is right, or we have to discuss if somebody's doing something wrong, then it's gonna hinder and be a horrible cooperation. But if you can point back to some shared goals, so that we've stated that the goals is this and ambitions are these, and we're gonna work out from these principles, then it makes it easier to point back towards sort of the shared vision. Hopefully, I would suggest.
Yes, that's very good. Thank you. Any other suggestions? I think one of the other things you can do is when you start it's very important to have a lot of the communication with the partners in writing, and maybe when you start the project, just write them that during this project we will not do this and that, and we will respect this and that. So you have some boundaries set from the start, and you have them in writing. And I know it's not elegant, but one of the things that can be done is the partners do not respect what they were supposed to do in the project. The final part of the grant can be reallocated to the other partners that have done their job and that they have done their job good. It rarely comes to this. It very rarely happens because people usually tend to do the good stuff. But yeah, it's something that can happen sometimes. It's something that is really hard to avoid. But a really good screening in the beginning of the process when you search for the partners and what we talked with Ilan before. The part with selecting the right partners is an important stepstones in the success of the project. And afterwards, if you follow the do's and don'ts and you maintain communication with everyone, then you set the administrative task, but also you discuss with them afterwards to see if they encounter any problems or if they stick to the plan and everything. I think you should be good. And it's the same if you are a partner in the project, you are not a coordinator, but you feel that the coordinator is dragging the project to some area you do not feel comfortable with. Keep in mind what you start from and remind them that these are the values that we need to focus on, and this is how the project should be done because it's written here and the grant depends on this. This is the case with Erasmus, but I'm not sure for other international collaboration. I think every organization that offers a grant makes you sign, and usually just point that you understand, makes you sign a declaration of honor that you commit to respecting some of the values. And this has to do a lot with the humanist values because to a large extent, the values that we as humanists share are the similar ones to the ones that Erasmus Plus has written on its website. So that works good for us. So other than that, it's very very difficult to navigate this part. Something that you should. I actually did this with a scenario-based exercise because I wanted to have it in the presentation because it's something to keep in mind every time that these issues could arise, and it's very important to pay attention to the beginning of the project when you select your partners, but also to every step of the communication of the project. Internal communication is as important as the external one because it's not important to promote the project to other people, but it's important to discuss with everyone involved to make sure that what you are doing is aligned with the values that you promote and the values that we all share. So talking about sharing, let's go back to this because I have the last few slides. Okay, so the last few slides are related to the challenges and solutions in international collaboration. So here are a few advice. One of them will be to, of course, maintain effective communication. And I'm not saying this because it has to do with what I studied in university and what I've been doing with ASUR for many, many years, but it's very important to maintain effective communication with your partners, but also with everybody involved in a project. It's very important to utilize communication platforms, to consider using newsletter and shared documents to make sure that everyone receives the same information. The next advice will be, of course, managing different time zones, and it happened to us twice to not be on the same page when we scheduled the meeting with the partners. But now with the doodles and the share calendar, it's very easy because everyone receives the notification based on their local time. So for us it happens more often because Eastern European has a different time zone than Central and Western. So it's something that you need to take consideration. The next will be to deal with administrative burdens, and it's very. You can use the project management tools, but if this it's difficult for you and you have a small organization, you can also use templates that you upload in Google Drive or Dropbox for shared access for all your partners. And just you have the template for reporting, have a template for you should do this, this, and this, and it's easier to follow all the task allocation and all the deadlines and everything. So we use Trello when we work with bigger organizations that are more experienced, and we use Google Drive in all the other. This has been working for us, but I think each organization has different way of doing things, and usually the project coordinator is the one that has the final say when it comes to how the project will be managed from this point of view, from that administrative burdens. And now I want to take some time to ask questions and to share experiences to see if I have made myself understood, if there are some things you feel you need to discuss some more. Because usually I speak too much and I do not have time for this, but I think now we have um, a few moments. So yeah, if you have any question for me or you want me to go further into detail with something. Yes, Ilan?
You talk a lot about preparations and being through, and it takes a lot of time. But what is the average timing of like really creating an international project? Like how long before you're really going abroad together? What's your timetable?
For me, for us, it takes, I think, about 2 months to write the project after we found the partners. So first we get the idea, we discuss this internally in the organization. Usually there are 3 or 4 people from that have this discussion. Then we start looking for partners because after we discuss internally, we know what to look for. After we found the partners, it takes about 2 months from the first meeting until we submit the project. For the Erasmus, the deadlines are October 1st for the fall deadline, and I think March 1st for the spring deadline. Yeah, it's usually end of February, beginning of March, or end of September, beginning of October. There are two deadlines per year for Erasmus grants. So if you want to apply for the one in February, March, you should start discussing the idea internally about October, so to say, and then probably in November to already start looking for partners, and in January to start writing the project with your partners. This is but I think it's also important to keep in mind that you might not get the grant on the first try. And if this happens, it happened to us with one of the projects. It happened 2 times. We still haven't got the grant, but every time we are just under the line. So there are those people who got the money, and then there's us, the first one that didn't get the money. So every time Erasmus gives you feedback, and you know how to improve the project. And if you get the rejection letter, the first step will be to discuss internally if you still want to go further with this project. And if you do, you contact the partners and ask them if they want to join you. And if they want, sure, you can start improving the project together. But if they do not want, you can try to find other partners if you want to submit it again. So this project that we plan to submit now for the 3rd time, we have been putting the first time we submitted last year in October, then in March, and now we're gonna do it again in October. It's a project about using gamification in order to connect with younger people and to use games in non-formal education. It's something that I think will be done, but it's not there yet, so we didn't get the money. So every time we get the rejection letter, we need to consider what other projects we have at the time, and if we have first of all, the capacity, the people that we need to do this project. I hope this answers your question. Thank you. Any other question at this point? No? So yeah, I think we're good. Thank you all for joining me. I will share my presentation with you, and if you want to contact me afterwards to discuss more and to have maybe a one-on-one to answer some more of question, or maybe to collaborate or something, we can do that. Sure. At the moment, I have an ongoing collaboration with Peggy's organization, and we are about to submit our first project together in the next deadline of the Erasmus. So I hope this works for us. We'll keep you informed if this happens. It's gonna be the first Erasmus project done by European Humanist, or with only European Humanist organization. So yeah, let's see how that goes. So yeah, thank you for having me today, and I wish you best of luck with your work in your countries and in your organization, and I hope we encounter each other in other webinars and in person, maybe in Luxembourg next summer, or sometimes before that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the presentation. And yeah, and as I said, if you're curious about any of the other European projects or European network that we're building, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. Then have a nice Friday and a good weekend, everyone.
Bye bye.